Good afternoon, it's Dan and Steve. I am here behind the camera today. Steve's got his mate. He's been on the Kent Boot Camp's diet. Not really. He's not really alive. But anyhow, we're going to be talking about the hips today. A lot of you have heard of the Gluteus Maximus, and maybe you know what that does. We're going to be talking about a smaller muscle. Steve, whereabouts is that muscle?
Okay, so we're talking about Gluteus Medius today, and its involvement in walking and running is probably one of the most important muscles of the body. So comes around here at the back of the ilium, comes around the side and attaches down here on this knobbly bit, so your hip bone down here. Okay, and it's really important. So we spend 85% of our time on one leg. So what can happen? We have babies, we have grandchildren holding the babies, and what we do is we adopt this posture, holding this baby, or you see mothers holding the baby on the hip, sitting down, a lot of rotation to one side, picking the phone up all day, all your files are over to here, and what we can get is a weakness in this hip. Now what does this do in walking and running? So if this glute medius on this side is weak, what it'll do is it'll present a long leg on this side, it'll present a weakness. So this leg becomes longer. To compensate, we move over to the short leg. And what you'll see is the spine will move over to the top of the hip to allow you to walk through. So as we lift our leg, this muscle has to contract. If it doesn't contract, as we lift this leg, this hip will drop down because we've got a weakness on this side which is struggling to stabilise the pelvis. Okay, so we're going to bring Dan onto the mat and we're going to show you some nice exercises, some nice stretches to get some balance in the pelvis and how to strengthen this muscle to stabilise the hip. Okay, so we're talking about this muscle. We've got Dan lying down here, Luke, giving it a bit of a wave. Okay, so this muscle is coming round here into this position, comes over the top of the pelvis and then wraps forward and the fibres run down. Now we've got fibres at the front and fibres at the back, so anterior fibres, posterior fibres. So the anterior fibres internally rotate the leg and abduct the leg. Now what we want to do is target these back fibres. So what we need to do is we need to internally rotate the leg, and that's taking these fibres at the front out of the equation, and then we can ask Dan to lift his leg up and target these posterior fibres. So what we're thinking is this is the long leg, this is the weak leg. So I can feel them fibres work. Now with stability, the reps need to be very high. So you need to be pushing yourself to like, at least, you're looking at between 30 and 50 reps to target this muscle adequately. So just think how many times you lift your leg during walking and this muscle has to contract. How's that feel, Dan?
Brilliant.
Okay, so how do you know if this muscle is weak on this side? How do you know you've got one leg longer than the other and this needs correcting? Well, firstly, you need to come and see me to get this diagnosed properly. But what you will see when you're walking and running is that the long leg drops in, so this internally rotates, the knee drops in, the foot drops in on the long leg, and we shift over the top of the short leg, and then the spine tries to compensate by forming a lateral curve and coming over the long leg to allow you to walk. So every time this lifts up, if this isn't contracting, it will shift over that short leg. So what you're looking at when you walk, as this foot drops in, there will be a big internal rotation through this hip. Okay, so we need to put the leg in a position where we can challenge the stability. So once you've done the glute medius strengthening on the floor, then we're starting to progress it forward and put it into positions that will have a big carryover to your walking and running. We're going to just start with the side lunge, and you'd work into that position. Now this muscle is bringing you back into this position, but we can start to challenge then this stability. Keep the chest up, keep everything in line. So remember, you spend 85% of your time on one leg. We're starting to challenge that stability as we come in. Okay, so how do we progress from this side lunge position? Well, what we do is we need to put the hip on an unstable surface. So the more unstable surface you can get while keeping this knee over the toes, so this hip is having to contract to keep that knee in line along with some other muscles down the outside of the thigh, and it also assists in external rotation. So as Dan comes up from this position, we're looking to keep this spine in line, and and he's going to rotate round. We get some nice external rotation here, but as he goes down, we're looking to keep this hip in line with this knee, chest nice and high, trying to lock that leg out at the back. This is called a single leg deadlift. Try and extend that leg at the back, good. So what we want here is nice tight abdominals. Remember, the aim of the exercise is to keep that knee in line with the toes. You can see how we're challenging that stability. Obviously, if you don't have one of these at home, we can move that out of the way and you can just do this exercise on the floor. The main thing is to be on one leg.
It's easier on a bosu. I hope that helps with your hips. If you need any more help with diagnosis with a back pain, hip pain, you think you might have an issue, come see Steve here. It's at our Hildenburg location. Cheers from our mate here. We'll see you next week. Another video. Goodbye from Steve. See you soon.